Assalamu alaikum, family. Peace be unto you, and welcome to the Sajda Chat Forum. This is a platform for intelligent people. It's the Sajda channel, the platform for intelligent people. And today we're going to do a live Q&A. I got about 22 questions that I've been gathering from you guys, and I've sorted them into categories. And we're going to see how many questions we can get through today. I'm going to take the questions from you all that have been emailed, but if there are some in the chat, we'll give priority to those. So be a friend and tell them to jump on over to the platform for intelligent people. And we'll be right back after a few short commercials and a beautiful prayer.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
Assalamu alaikum, family. You're tuned into the Sajda channel. This is a platform for intelligent people. We don't dumb things down so they fit into an algorithm, which is about sometimes at a third grade level. Our articles and our white papers aren't written at an eighth grade level. This is for intelligent people. So if you're a builder, a leader, a policymaker, an entrepreneur, this platform is for you. So today we're going to do some Q&A. We've got quite a few questions, and Thank you so much. And from those questions, I'm just going to share and talk about a little bit. I'll try to get through all of them. If not, we'll continue this to tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. All right, so let's dig into it. I broke these into categories. I tried to take your questions and put them into a category. So the first one is business and mindset questions. And the first one's so simple. It says, is business more psychology or mathematics? Y'all know I talk about in the book, The Art and Science of Business, how we constantly are being reduced to binary thinking. It's always this or that. And when I get your questions, I hear you talking in that language. Is business more psychology or mathematics? It's both. So math is how you're going to analyze the economics of what you're doing. You're going to analyze your profit and loss. It's how you're going to determine how you're going to price your product or service. But then the psychology is the mental behavior that you're going to practice as you're developing it, as you're managing yourself, as you're managing your team, your staff, your vendors, as you're managing your discipline and getting up every morning. So it's both. It's both psychology and it's mathematics. And for us as Black people, a lot of people, like I was listening to something the other day, and there was a brother on, and I won't even say his name because I agree with most of what he's saying. But he was saying that it's just math. It's just math. But unfortunately for us as Black people, it's not just math. It's also psychology. It's psychology in just getting us up every day. It's psychology in just deciding who's going to work for us and how we're going to do it. It's psychology and mathematics. So the answer to your question is that it's both. The next question is, what is the difference between being self-employed and actually building an economic system? What is the difference between being self-employed and actually building an economic system? Okay, two big jumps there. Okay, obviously self-employed meaning that you eat what you kill, right? You basically own your job. If you don't get out there, get up, put something out there and get up and go to work, then your money doesn't come in. If you don't put together something where you're making money when you're sleeping, then you don't get paid. Okay, that's what self-employed is. Self-employed, you employ yourself. You hire yourself out. But then what is an economic system? Or what does it mean? What's the difference? They said. Let's just say, what is a system first? A system is when you put processes in place that help to mitigate risks and help to move your product or service along. Everybody should have systems. Okay. I notice a lot of us go into business and we bring sort of like this hustler's mentality to it. And we think if we got a couple of dollars, all we got to do is pay somebody to do it. All we got to do is tell somebody what to do. A lot of us want to be bosses. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be a boss, but you got to understand that you need a system. If you own a business, let me say it this way. I would say probably 70% of the self-employed clients that I get are people who started a business, but they're not even hands-on. They never go there. They got this bad habit of just telling other people what to do. They don't know how to do anything. It's just, well, do this, do that. And 9 times out of 10, when you operate like that and you don't know what you're doing, you don't have any professional intuition, you're going to lose your shirt. Get in there, roll your sleeves up. If somebody tells you and you have a shovel business, for example, that they're storing the shovels in a warehouse on 39th Street, you better take your butt there to 39th Street, make sure your shovels are there, and look at the system that is being deployed. If somebody tells you, hey, I'm working on this project for you, and everything is stored on the shared drive, then you better go to that shared drive and take a look at what they have out there, if that's where all your documents are. If somebody says to you, hey, I'm your construction general contractor, I got you, and you think you ain't got to go there and put boots on the ground and lay eyes on something, even if you don't know what you're looking at, you better get out there and go and see. Most of us are not at the level where we can be hands off with a business. We want to be. We wish we could be. And reason why I say most of us are not at the level, you may be at the intellectual level, but do you have the team? Do you have the staff that you can trust? And when you go there, it's like when they go there, it's like you going there. In many cases, we do not have that. So you got to lay eyes on it. Even if you're not there every single day, you better pop up and see what's going on. Be on the scene. A lot of people, depending on what level and how you contract them, they'll work much better if they see your face. So pay attention. So that's putting a system in place. Your accounting system, your filing system. How are you safeguarding documents? What is the process A through Z? Somebody orders a shovel. The order goes to the picking team. The team goes out into the warehouse, gets it, makes sure it's already packaged, or do they package it first? But what is the system or process? Once you build that system or process around your business, then you can understand how to build an economic system for yourself and for your family. But first, let's master being self-employed and owning a business. Let's begin to separate culturally from what's out here in the zeitgeist about us. And there's some other questions. I'm not going to jump ahead because somebody asked a question about this. But anyway, that question was, what's the difference between self-employed and actually building an economic system? Economic system is just that. It's a system with a goal in mind. A business system is a system with a goal in mind. What is the goal? The goal is to safeguard the assets of the organization. The goal is to get these shovels out here on time. And in the development of that system, you will then begin to identify risk, and you'll put certain controls in place that help to mitigate that risk. There was a couple of years where that's all I did was went into companies, looked at the system, identified risks, and put controls in place. And wrote that up and moved on to the next client. So that is a thing. And you got to know how to do that as a business person. And if you don't, bring in somebody like myself that can take a look at your system, see where your vulnerabilities are, what's happening, help you put some controls in place. It could be as simple as having a check request process for your team members, especially if you got several projects going on at once. If they need a check, putting a check request system in place. Number one, is the work authorized? Saying where I did the work is not an excuse. Is the work authorized? Did anybody check the work? Has the work been done? There's going to be checks and balances that you're going to go through. Those are controls that are going to mitigate the risk of somebody just making up something, taking money from you, saying they did something that they didn't. And then once all of those steps are checked, then the question is, who approves the check? Is that a different person? Are they two different people? They probably should be if it's not you. So those are the kind of things that you will know in a system. So a system is moving the process forward, but a system is also putting controls in place that help to mitigate the risk. All right. The next question is, if authenticity is profitable, why do so many people still hide who they are? Many people hide who they are because they're not comfortable with who they are. They have not accepted who they are. They don't see value in who they are. And they probably see value in being something other than themselves. That's really the root of it. So when you see these people out here in business who are very phony, they're very fake, they figured out that I can't be myself. And if being yourself is not working, make sure you go inside of yourself and figure out what it is that maybe you could improve upon. Here's a let me give you a quick example. Sometimes you may be, so the nuances of your personality, let me say it like this. If you're good, will change depending upon what environment you're in. So there's a level of code switching that is legitimate. And I don't mean the extreme code switching where you literally change the way you talk and your accent. So for example, let's say you run a business and you deal with children all day. And so you talk in a certain tone of voice when you're dealing with the children. All right, everybody, let's line up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everybody get in line. You're not going to get your treat until you get in line. Okay, everybody pull out your coloring books, whatever. But when you go into an executive meeting, you can't talk like that. Okay, I want everybody to make sure that they fill out their reports. You're going to look crazy. And saying I want to be myself, I want to be my authentic self is not an excuse when your personality doesn't match or the way you're handling things doesn't match the environment. Let's say you're a corrections officer in a jail, or you work in the juvenile delinquent center, and everybody's, it's rough. You got to talk to them a certain way. Sometimes you got to be a little bit condescending. Like, I know one thing, everybody better clean up their rooms or whatever you got to do. But then you come to another environment and you talk the same. You talk in the same condescending manner to those people that you were talking to when you were at your job at the juvenile delinquent center or at the jail. You're going to have a problem switching environments. And I say it like this. My cousin actually gave me this analogy. She's an HR person, and she said it. She actually said it about me. She said, you know what? She said, one thing about you. She said, you have a certain presentation that can go into any environment. And the reason is because I built that muscle as a consultant. I can go into the environment and read the environment like within seconds because I've done that my entire life. Some environments are friendly. Some environments are not. Some people are open. Some people are not. There's all kinds of factors that you have to consider that become part of what I call your professional intuition. But she said to me, she said, but you got a gangsta bee that's laying on the couch behind you. And she just be eating popcorn and she just be chilling until you don't get it right. And when you don't get it right, she get up and say, move out the way. I got this. And she ain't no joke. Well, you got to know when to turn that on and when to turn it off. You can't be the gangsta bee all the time. You can't be the same way you're in this environment as you are in the other environment. I know I've hired managers to work for me, and most of their management experience has been with dealing with the children in their family. And so the mistake I made in bringing those people in is when they came into the environment, they started treating everybody like they were their child. And so these are things that are important. So understanding what authenticity truly is. Authenticity isn't, I'm just going to act the way I want to act, or I'm going to just act in my limited capacity and you got to deal with it because I'm trying to be myself. Then if that's the case, then you have to remove that person from the environment. If that behavior doesn't fit, where you are. I deal with a lot of sensitive stuff. There's a lot of tuning in and a lot of paying very, very close attention to small details. So it's difficult for me to have somebody on my team that doesn't know how to do that. So if you are always condescending, or you're always snippy, or you're always loud, or you're always quiet, or you're always this or that, then I have to move you to a different position within the team where your personality where your job description calls for that kind of person. Right? If I own a hospital and I have to hire like a patient concierge, then I need that soft-spoken, compassionate, but firm, confident person. That might not be the same person that I need in the meetings with me or negotiating with the vendors. And so when you become an executive, you understand how to apply those different things and how to read a person to say, okay, this person would be best in this environment. Because sometimes you can mess up a good employee by putting them in the wrong environment. Or you can ruin a good relationship or a good friend by having them in the wrong environment, because when they come in, they'll make mistakes. You'll be frustrated, and it may very well cost you the contract. All right. The next category is wealth and economic questions. That's what I tried to group them together. The question is wealth creation primarily about hard work or about ownership? Again, y'all, binary thinking, this or that. That or this. Is wealth creation primarily about hard work or about ownership? It's both, y'all. It's both. I know there's a lot of conversations out here that you don't have to work hard in order to be rich. In essence, you don't. But in essence, you do. And here's what I mean. If everything else is perfect, you still got to work on yourself. And it's hard work working on yourself. It's hard work analyzing who you are, who you could be, being better at what you do. Because what you don't want to do is bulldoze the situation with your limited intellectual capacity. That's deep, ain't it? Meaning, if this is all you know, you can't always bulldoze your way into a situation using what you feel like is your authentic self. So there's a lot of hard work involved. Why? Because for each level, each elevated place we go to, we have to become something different. Each elevated place we go to. Now, this is for those of us that are interested in being spiritual and entrepreneurs. If you just like, look, I'm just a hardcore capitalist. I don't care about nothing else. I don't care about nobody. I don't care about how they feel. Then this may not apply to you. Okay. But if you are about practicing capitalism that is conscious, then this is for you. If you're like, it don't matter to me, I'm gonna be the biggest, you know what, in the room, the biggest A word, the biggest B word, I don't care, I'm just getting my money. That's different. This may not be for you. Okay, so is it hard work or ownership? It's both. You're gonna have to figure out what within your business, what processes do you own? What intellectual property do you own? Do you own the distribution? Do you own the product? Do you own the raw materials? Do you own the songwriting? What do you own? Do you own the building? Do you own the property? Is your business also a real estate play in that you own the building? And if that business in the building doesn't work, you can switch it out and own another one. It's both. So yes, ownership is important, but hard work is very critical. And hard work oftentimes includes that self-improvement process, which is the hardest work of them all. Self-improvement process. And here's the other thing. You got to know yourself. You got to know your personality. I know myself, and I know what environments and what people I can be most productive around. And I'm at a point in my life where I can dictate that. And I don't necessarily have to take projects or jobs that are out of my wheelhouse in terms of what I can comfortably deal with. And I don't have no problem in saying that, you know what? That's not me. Okay. All right. Next question. Why do some communities produce enormous amounts of economic activity but retain very little wealth? It is about the mindset of the community. If there's a collective mindset in the community, then everybody's behaviors will be pointed towards that collective goal, that collective mindset. If you look at certain communities, they may come here from other countries, and if they have to all live in the same house, they may all be in the same car, they may all work at the same business, and then over time, they may start to branch out, get their own place. But there's some collective goal that they're focused on that allows them to make the sacrifice to either all live together, all ride together, all work together. There's a collective goal. So that's important. I want to see if there was another question here that was, and here's a similar one. If land ownership is so important, why aren't more entrepreneurs talking about land acquisition? A lot of it is because there's so much, it's so nuanced. Let's go back to our sojourn here in America. Many of us during Jim Crow were working on the land. We came from slavery. We went through Reconstruction. And now we're working on the land. Somebody's stealing from us. They still pimping us out. And we get a chance to come up north and get an hourly wage for an hour worth of time. And so we say, you know what, forget this land stuff. I'm out of here. And so a lot of us look at it like it's too much hard work and we are out of here. We don't want to be bothered with land. It's a lot of work. A lot of us don't want to go back to that. And we don't even know that it's in our epigenetics as to why sometimes we reject land. A lot of times. Just putting a fence up, just keeping the grass cut. And heaven forbid, if you're planting things, it takes a lot. And so a lot of us are just emotionally adverse to that kind of thing. We won't even buy a lot and just start planting a garden on the lot because it's too much. Some of us don't even want a yard because it's too much. And we're disconnected from the land because we purposely disconnected ourselves or bought into the disconnection psyop when we made the transition up north, a lot of us. Some people don't focus on land ownership because maybe they don't have the credit. Maybe they don't have the cash. So we have to fix that. It's real simple. Cash, credit. Some of us just don't focus on it because of that. Some of us just don't value what it means to own land. Land is one of the most precious assets that you can have. Look, buy up these vacant lots. Put a freaking garden there. Plant some fruits and vegetables. Land, 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 land. And I know it's hard because a lot of us don't want to move. We don't want to go live on the land. We don't want to have to manage nobody. That's why we have to do cooperative economics, because there are people that want to do it. And there are people that can do it. So that's those are some of the reasons why. Well, this one we answered already. Can entrepreneurship alone solve economic inequality, or do we need systems? We need systems. We need a collective system, okay, that it leads to a collective goal, or starts with a collective goal. If it's nothing other than saying, you know what, we're going to focus on making our dollar last in the community longer. When we had these enclosed communities, before desegregation, our dollar was lasting sometimes a year in the community because we couldn't spend it anywhere else. Sometimes a year, 18 months. Think about the wealth that we would have built up, the long-term generational wealth that we would have built up if we kept going for that and did not opt for segregation. Think about that. Y'all know I can go into that, so I'm not going to go too deep into that. There's some stuff here. I'll do some replays of some of that stuff here on the show next week, where we talked about segregation, self-governance, environmental racism. We'll replay some of those. I think there was a series we did. The next question: what industries are ignored right now that represent the next economic opportunity? I think the trades. I think the trades are really being ignored because let me tell you something I cannot stand. I cannot stand the psych op and the propaganda that they put into our community and on our children that we all buy into. We've been buying into this thing that, you know, the trades is something you fall back on. If you can't go to college, then you need to just go be an electrician. You can't be an electrician just like that. We look down on people who work with their hands, and we teach our children to look down on people who work with their hands. And even our children that decide, you know what, I don't think college is for me. We got a problem. Listen, by the time they start pushing us towards something, trust me, they've already given up on it. This is why they have accelerated engineering schools. There's one in Indiana. I can't think of the name of it. Or schools you go to like IIT or California Institute of Technology, where you get these accelerated degrees and you move fast through a particular field of study. It's the reason why most of those types of programs are filled with foreign students, because they don't want to be caught up going to school, taking a bunch of classes that they don't need. They're singularly focused. But we love it. We want the whole college experience. We want to go down there and go party and kick it, and that, in essence, in a lot of ways, is what is messing us up. I can have a whole conversation about that. So what is being ignored? I would say it's the trades. Because while there are certain aspects of the trades that will become automated, maybe the ordering system, you know, maybe how we get the supplies, things like that. But the actual trade of going in and putting electricity in a home, fixing the electricity, fixing a broken pipe, fixing a roof, all of that kind of stuff has been ignored in our community for too long. You used to have the neighborhood mechanic, that person that just fixed your cars or got tires. We used to have those in every neighborhood. We used to have somebody that we could call we call him a handyman, that could come over and do just about anything. To me, those fields, those trades are being ignored, and I think it's a problem. I always tell people that I have a technical degree in finance and accounting. I have an honorary doctorate. But had I not combined that trade, that training with the trades, I'd have a different career trajectory. So the trades, to me, is one of the most ignored fields. The trades, and also life safety. So firemen, paramedics, life safety services, that's another one that's being ignored. Because if something happens, you want somebody that can come put the fire out. You want somebody that can come pull the child out the well or do whatever. You want that life safety person. If something happens to you, you want that life safety person. I think more of us opt for being police officers than we do firemen and EMT and, paramedics, emergency responders. But that's also another field that I think is overlooked. Okay. Here's some emotional intelligence questions. I think we're doing good. We may get through most of these. What emotional wounds are secretly affecting our ability to make money? There's so many. Not accepting our own and being ourselves. That's impacting us severely because a lot of us go whichever way the wind blows. We hear somebody making money over here doing this, then we go copy that person and do that. We hear somebody else over here getting it, then we go run over there and get it. We're going whichever way the wind blows. So we're not accepting who we are. We're not being ourselves. Another emotional intelligence, we have a lot of trauma, a lot of stuff that's happened to us, divorce, homelessness, different levels of abuse, financial trauma, evictions, and a lot of that stuff is still haunting us emotionally. Those are some more. Gosh, there's so many. Oh, our lack of unity. A lot of that's driven by trauma, where we just don't trust other people. We don't trust people that look like us. One of the hardest things to be is a Black employer. Because Black people have a hard time working for Black people. White people sometimes have a hard time working for Black people. Asian people, everybody got a problem sometimes working for Black people. And they'll take you through experiences that you wouldn't be going through if you was any other race. I was talking to a friend the other day who is restructuring their company. And the level of criticism that they're getting from people around them, I told them, I said, if you were a middle-aged white male, you wouldn't be getting this type of pushback. Because unfortunately, many of us don't know how businesses actually work. You know how many companies that I've worked on teams where we've been brought in because they only planned on owning the business for 5 years and now they're transitioning it to somebody else? Or they started the business. It turns out that they don't want to do it anymore for whatever reason. And they're bringing in a management team that's going to be a new part owner. Restructuring. You know how many people have brought us in where they said, you know what, we're going to sell. We're going to merge. These are all business moves that business people do all the time. But when we do it, we want to be critical. Oh, they couldn't make it. They don't know how to run that business. They don't know what they're doing. I heard they lost that business. We always go to the lowest common denominator instead of realizing that's just business. That's how it's done. I know people that make a sacrifice to open up a business in their community, and the goal is just because they wanted that business in the community. Now they're looking for a buyer for that particular business. How many times have you gone into the nail shop and the ownership changed? It may still be there. It may still look the same. Sometimes they'll do some upgrades to it, but the ownership has changed behind the scenes. So restructuring, there's nothing absolutely wrong with that. Let's stop making everything so emotional and reducing it to the common denominator where all of a sudden now we got to use that to talk negatively about somebody else. We got some growing up to do. Okay. Not only do we got to learn how to move in and out of different environments, right? And I can't talk to you on the show the same way I may talk to the people who are working construction for me, or I can't talk to the people that are working construction for me the same way I may talk to a children's group that I go and present to. So we got to know how to move in and out of these different environments. Okay, next question. How many business decisions are actually emotional decisions disguised as logical decisions? So many. It's a lot of us have a hard time deciding, because here's what happens. We make emotional decision, and then we try to, on the back end, use deceptive intelligence to apply logic to it. That happens. Again, don't be hard on yourself. Sometimes you make an emotional decision and you go, okay, now I got to try to figure out how to make this work. That happens. Some people, I remember I was reading something the other day about a businessman. He was a white man from Europe. And he saw this piece of property. It actually was an island. And he was just so in love with the nature and the beauty on the island. He made an emotional decision to purchase it. And the whole rest of the article was about how he had to figure out how to put systems in place to make it make sense. So sometimes things are a hybrid. It's all about balance, right? So you don't want to totally remove your emotions from something. But sometimes if something is a 100% emotional decision, now you got to bring in the balance. It's all about balance. It's like the corporations being involved in policy making. That can be good when it comes to innovation and seeing things differently, making things more convenient. But when corporations are out of balance and it gets to the point like it is now where they are actually running and controlling the government, now we got a problem. So it's all about balance. Have you ever outgrown a version of yourself if that your business still, have you ever outgrown a version of yourself that your business still depends on? Yeah, I have. And I either had to slide someone in that slot that could run it because I had changed, or I knew it was time to make a structural decision. Am I going to sell the business? Am I going to divest? Am I going to bring in new owners? So yeah, sometimes you're just not there anymore. Like I was there, I was in a different place at that time and I'm not there anymore. And if that business is dependent upon me personally, then I know I need to make a move. But if I have had enough time to set the systems up in the business, to put it in a certain space where it's not dependent upon me personally, then that's also a good place to be in. It just depends on where you are on the scale of the business. And again, all this black and white stuff, well, the problem is because you made the business depend on you and blah, blah, blah. Look, listen, it depends on where you are. A lot of this is new to a lot of us. Go easy on yourself. Just be smart and balanced. And if you need help, you know where to find me. All right. Last set of questions. We might be able to get through these. I put these down as nation building or self-governance questions. What does self-governance actually look like in business? Ooh, that's a nuanced question, because self-governance in business means that it's twofold. I take self-governance in two ways. One, in that I'm the government of that business and I'm making the decisions and I'm trying to figure out what best to do for the next stage of the business. But self-governance also means that I have to self-govern myself. I have to have sovereignty in who it is that I am. So am I going to be getting punked and bullied in my business? Am I going to be the one making the decisions? Am I overbearing? Am I underbearing? What's my balance like? Sometimes you have to protect your business because, again, this usually only happens with us, especially Black women. People see our business and see what we're doing. Number one, they want to get in our business. They want to count our money. They get mad because we won't let them in. And then they want to tell us what to do. People will try to tell you what to do, and they are a long distance away from your business. Well, what you should do is blah, 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 blah. You don't. And let me say this to you all. If you have a product or service that you sell, until you have the lay of the land and you understand the scope of that person's business, don't tell somebody what to do with their business. If you want to offer your pitch is wrong if you're doing that. If you want to offer your product or service to someone that you believe will help them in their business, then your pitch needs to be about that. Not about what you need to be doing. What's wrong is this, when a lot of times you don't know the scope of their business. I had somebody say to me, you should, why don't you post yourself at your clients' businesses and doing work for them? And they became very critical of me because they said, you don't do that. I said, because number one, for the work I do, most time there's an NDA. Okay. Number two, I am a trusted advisor. That's different from just sending a service and you trying to help somebody do something at your level. A trusted advisor means that the work that I do with that person is confidential. They may or may not want anybody to know that they had to bring in somebody like me. They may not want anybody to know that they had to restructure their business or file bankruptcy or do a merger or get a new management company, or that they just don't want the business no more. So I'm a trusted advisor. When I work with politicians, they may not want anybody to know that these ain't all their ideas. So you got to know what the person does. And my image on social media, online, has always been, even the crux of this show, it has always been to demonstrate my skills and to share knowledge with you all. And even if you hire me, if you notice it, I'm not talking about your business on this podcast. I don't do it. And there's a reason. So we have to know that business before we make inroads into that person's business. So if you ever work with me on a project and let's say we get a pitch and there's a lead and we're talking about potentially going into a person's business, I don't say anything until I've done a scope and an assessment, till I understand exactly what is going on. Not only is that intelligent, it's also confidentiality, as Brother Ronald just put in there. There's privacy, because people don't want their business all out there in many cases. And they want somebody that they can trust. If I'm sitting in the room, I want my clients to know I got your back and you can trust me. I'm not going nowhere telling your business. I'm not sitting up in here trying to get in your business to judge you, to talk about what you are and who you are. I'm here to support you and help you get to the next level. And I refuse to have anybody that's around me and in my circle not living their life to the fullest potential if I can help it. Okay, let me see. Is that the last? Let's see. Yeah, I think the last one. Okay, there's a few more. I'll leave these until tomorrow because it's about capitalism and stuff like that. We'll leave those until tomorrow. We'll continue tomorrow. Any questions from the chat? If not, I'm going to leave you with a couple of reminders. One, support the platform. This is a platform for intelligent people. If you're looking for something to be dumbed down to a third grade level, I had an advisor talk to me and say, you know what, your podcast, we just need to break it down so it's a little bit more simpler, because we don't talk about simple concepts here. We're talking about nation building. We're talking about self-governments. We're talking about economics. And I'm talking about complex economics. We have some subjects that are more simpler than others. Trying to water out of a rock. Yeah. So yeah, support the platform. The Cash App is up here. Make sure you support so we can continue to try to bring this stuff to you at little or no charge. So support. You can see right here, that QR code is the Cash App code where you can just support if it does nothing other than just help us pay for the platform so we can keep coming to you. I'm going to try to start airing some of the past episodes, so you'll see things out here every day, but it'll be me live Friday and Saturday morning. Make sure you register your commemorative Elijah coin, because next week we're making an announcement, and I want to make sure you get it first. If you already have a coin, register your coin. If you don't have a coin, go and grab you a coin. Okay. And those are two things I'm going to say right now. If you want to get the book, you know how to do that. Get the Art and Science of Business book. And if you want to book me for advisory services, speaking engagements, just go to SajdaWendyMuhammad.com and we can work it through and figure it out from there. Okay, family. May Allah bless you all. I'm wishing you all more goodness than you've ever received or imagined. And the goal here is for us all to win and for us to realize that we can win. We will win. We're going to do it. And we can do it. So don't go anywhere. Check out this short video. And I'll see you all, God willing, tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. right here on the Sajda channel, a platform for intelligent people. See you soon.
I have received so many pleasures, so many very good to look at, whether you own them or not. It's a pleasure just to look at such presents. Why, I have never witnessed so many presents. I think I have to build me a house for presents. This shows what Allah can do for you and me if we believe in Him.
There is nothing that we could not accomplish in the name of God. You don't have even a worthy goal to strive after. I'm going to give you an assignment today. Here's an assignment. Is there something you want? Do you want something? Something that you want, but you have not been able to get it? Huh? Close your eyes. Do you see it? Whatever it is that you want, first envision it. You got the picture. Do you see it? All right, now the question is, you have to claim what you see. I claim this. I claim it. I believe with all my heart in the name of God that I'll bring what is in my imagination into reality. We're going to bring it back like it never was. I see in the dome the name Allah written in Arabic. But I can't just dream. I got to go to work. How do you bring it into concrete reality? First, without faith, you can't work the vision.